Coincidence, attachment, or is this some kind of paranormal party line? Join us as we dive into weird connections.
Hey there, everybody. I'm Heather.
And I'm Michelle.
And we're East Valley Paranormal. And today we're going to dive into weird connections on the paranormal pool. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much for joining us. And thank you for all your comments and your emails. We really appreciate you guys. And we could not do this without you, honestly. And wouldn't do it without you because we'd just be sitting in a closet talking to ourselves.
Which we pretty much do all the time anyway. So it'd just be like a regular day. Today let's backtrack here. We want to talk about weird connections and strangeness and high strangeness and all that good stuff. Because last night we kind of did a somewhat investigation and we had an experience that we keep running across, but last night was definitely like blatant in our face. Okay, we got to talk about this today.
Yeah, you guys, and we even covered part of this subject last week, which is why we are sort of going, what is happening right now? By the way, if you haven't seen the YouTube link come up, it's because my computer's acting a little bit strange. So the second podcast will show up soon, guys, just so you know. But back to this. We were sitting 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago, in a place, and we played that EVP for you last week.
Right.
We played the candy EVP, and we played the room being trashed for you guys. Right. And we were sitting last night helping somebody out, trying to get some answers to some questions. And there was a portion of the recording that we came across that sounded a lot like something that we had already heard, and we do have that for you, and then we really have a lot of other connections like this that we want to go over too. So I'm going to go ahead and play what happened so you guys can hear it firsthand.
Are these intelligent people? Wait.
This is not the right video.
Just kidding.
That's okay. So here's the one from October. Well, let's go back a little further. So this is an EVP we got.
Okay, so if you didn't listen to last week's podcast, we talked about how we had this EVP and it had the word candy in it. And like Michelle said, that was 2 years ago. And then last night, we get candy again out of the blue, similar to the one we had 2 years ago, but not quite. But we honestly felt like either it was trying to get our attention and it was being kind of sarcastic, like, hey, I know you guys were just talking about this. And what's so funny is Michelle was actually talking about that same EVP with somebody else and that whole night. So it's like, did they pluck that because it's kind of raw and fresh and we just talked about it? Or is it just a complete coincidence? Or
were they like, hey, you're not listening to us.
Yeah.
And we want you to realize that we're actually communicating with you. So we're going to say something you recognize for sure. Because that particular EVP has been heavy in conversation.
Yeah.
Amongst everyone who was there that night.
For a long time.
I
mean, we play that a lot, actually. I think it was even played on the John Jay and Rich podcast on iHeartRadio. We were a special guest on there during Halloween last year. And was it last year?
It was.
Yeah, it was last year. It was like, time flies. And we talked about that and played it for them, too. And they were like, oh, my gosh. And so we've talked about that EVP a lot because it's so clear. Now, when we heard that EVP, we kind of just stopped and literally my jaw just dropped. What? And, I was like, oh my gosh, like, I can't believe that same, like, spirit or energy is here. And then Michelle goes, maybe it's not, like, maybe we're the ones, like, maybe we are the connection. It's just kind of like with us. And I was like, oh, shizzle.
Right. So that might be where we are in that too.
Now keep in mind, we record everything on our phones. We don't use like the cool little black recorders that you see on all the cool TV shows and stuff, because honestly, everything sounds like garbage on those. And to me, like, my ears can't listen to that. I mean, I'm sure normal people with normal hearing can hear just fine. My ears are crap. So,
but we did find that our iPhones were the best, like, it felt like our iPhones were the best energetic conduit for this type of communication. But we did start noticing, and this is where the party line portion comes in. We will be talking on our phones. And it could be happening right now, actually, sitting here recording this podcast. I'm going to be honest. We'll be talking back and forth on our phones, and we will be talking about something, and we will hear a third voice chime in to the conversation.
Right.
And they're answering. They're very clearly responding to whatever it is that we're saying, or they're answering, or they're saying something completely different. But it happens between our two phones all the time.
I can even have my phone connected to my car, and it comes through my car speakers, and I'm like, what the hell? And so we use our telephones as almost like as walkie-talkies. So it's not like it's just like we're recording on the phone. We actually like have a live. They know it, and they're like, "Hey, I'm gonna jump on," or is it just like, since we investigate we kind of investigate in our community, because our community is highly haunted. It has massively messed up history, and some great history, but mostly messed up history.
Right.
Or is it just because it is a small town that these energies, spirits, what have you, are just kind of roaming in the same area? And
right. Or are they actually connected? So there's that possibility as well, because I'm feeling like these two locations are literally, as the crow flies, a quarter mile, half a mile max away from each other. I feel like it's more like a half a mile.
Yeah.
But this was a pretty small community back in the beginning stages, when all of the traumatic stuff was going on, that imprinted itself somewhere here.
Yeah, we get this a lot. I mean, and also too, if you investigate and you're into the paranormal and you're an investigator, has this ever happened to you? I mean, have you ever been to one location and get like the strongest EVP that's so clear, and then you're in some other different location, and all of a sudden almost that same voice saying the same thing comes through? Do you ever get that? Because honestly, guys, we get that a lot.
We do. We have the same man. He has a very distinct voice, and he's in our Nile episode coming up, and he says very distinctly a very long, like a sentence, and he's very clear. Like, he's very clear to hear. And then in the place we were just at last night, he was there also, but he was saying something different, and he had no merit. That's what he said there.
Yeah, no merit.
But it was very distinctly the same guy. You could hear the tone and the resonance in his voice. So we know it's the same guy. These two places were very close to each other.
They're literally across the street from each other.
Yeah, literally right across the street. So we're getting similar voices, but we also get similar EVPs spoken to us in different voices. Like some kind of crazy loop.
Yeah.
So it'll be one is a sentence of males saying the same exact thing that then 5 minutes later females are going to be saying.
Yeah. It is very, very odd to get an EVP that's so clear that it's like burned, especially like, we just did an investigation a week, like over the weekend, and there was a little boy that said something, and it was so clear that it was like a whole sentence, and he was explaining what he and his family sort of do. And it was so clear. It was like if he was sitting right next to us. And I think if I heard that voice again, I would be like, that's the same kid, because you just don't forget that. It kind of gets burned into your brain. Because it's so,
It's so it's stunning. It literally stuns you.
It stuns you.
To hear, well, because at first, you're not sure you're hearing what you're hearing, even because sometimes they can be a little difficult to pull apart from background noise, but then all of a sudden it's like that little boy just said a full sentence.
Yeah.
Or a short sentence that's terrifying. That short sentence was also terrifying.
Yeah, I mean, that was, it's just, I'm still thinking about last night, because it really, for a couple moments, I literally just didn't even know what to think, because we had just gotten this 2 years ago, and it was such a significant night, and it was such a significant EVP that we talk about all the time, that's been burned in the back of our brain, and here it is again laid out for us last night. And it felt very intentional, and it felt very kind of snarky and sarcastic, and I don't know if it was meant to like be intimidating, or like Michelle said earlier, to catch our attention. I think we were talking about this earlier. I think I'm gonna nickname those attention gores.
Attention gore.
You're an attention gore. You're such an attention gore.
I love it. But I do feel, to me it feels like, pay attention, there's something you're not getting. You're not quite there yet. And it's so difficult because, again, repeated, like Heather has said it best since the very beginning, as soon as we feel like we have answers to something, we find that we have more questions. Yeah. So this here, I don't even know what to... I don't know. I don't even have a theory on what this could be. We wanted to reach out to the paranormal community and reach out to you guys if you've ever experienced this. You know what I mean? Like, or I feel like we are not the only ones that have experienced this. There's no way. But is it actually happening, or is it just because of the connection of our phones and the line? Are they using that line? Like, they know our number. Right, and since it's all energy, they immediately know, like, if we that pop frequency. Open that line, they're like, hey, the girls are on. Hey, what's up, babe? What's up, girl? Hey, what's up, boo? You're like, hey, what's up? You know, yeah, it is very weird to, like, I do feel like they know that frequency now. So is it this same energy, spirit saying that? Or is it something new saying like, well, maybe if I say this, they'll talk to me and I need to talk to them? I don't know. Again, right. So weird. We don't, please, if you guys know, message us or call us or something. Yeah. I mean, at one point, you know, we had even toyed with the fact of like we talked about last night, like parallel lines, right? Like time is moving parallel to each other and not side to side, right? Yeah, so all space and time are kind of... Right, as going on at once. So we talked about that last night, and it does make you think. We've talked about this before. I think we talked about it the last episode, actually, when we talked about us investigating, and we heard women say almost the same thing that we were saying along the same lines, but they were not our voices. They were two totally different women. And as we were investigating, it was like they were almost investigating us. So it's like, who was haunting who at that point? Were we haunting them, or were they haunting us? Or is it just time sort of getting so close to each other? I don't know. It makes you like totally go crazy trying to figure it out. It does, because I feel the same way. I feel like and where are these other women talking to us from? Like, where are they hearing us from? Are they hearing us long after? Like, is this why we don't understand how ghosts interact and how they see us? Because we are the ghosts right now and we're haunting these other women? Yeah. I mean... From who knows where? Right. Or when? Right. I mean, it's been talked about that before, about... you know, apparitions, when people are like, oh, you know, it's like a loop, the apparition comes down the stairs, but what if that apparition is actually a real person walking down their own set of stairs, and we are the ones that shouldn't be there?
It's like that movie, The Others.
I love that movie. I love that movie. That movie really speaks. Well,
that movie is kind of garbage until the very end, and then you're like, that's the best movie ever. It's kind of like Signs. Yeah. You know, but you're kind of like, this movie's moving so slow. It's so weird.
And then the aliens on the roof.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh,
Mel
this
Gibson
is crazy.
is running like crazy around the
yeah.
We're Mel Gibson.
I mean, I don't know. It's, to me, it's so mind blowing that I don't know. I just don't even know where to go from there. I can't figure it out. It drives me insane trying to figure it out, but I definitely feel like last night it was very intentional.
It was, and it was almost said as though someone were trying to mimic the original, but not exactly got it.
It was like the Wish version of
it. Was right, but it was less angry.
Yeah.
It was a less reptile sounding voice.
Yeah.
There wasn't that whole weird reverb thing that he did with his voice to do it, but this was most definitely, I feel like it was designed to get our attention.
Yeah.
And we did get a lot of really clear EVPs that I don't even...
The woman that called out from the back was so clear. As we were walking around, this woman was like, I'm over here.
Oh, she said over here.
Over here. And it was so clear. And then there was the other one. That's the thing, is if you're getting the same voice, that's so bizarre. And in our cases, why we get so many EVPs, I don't know.
Well, I was going to speak on that a little bit, because I wonder if it's like our individual energy as friends, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you throw Apple into the works. Seriously. I don't know.
Right.
I really don't know. I don't know any other group that gets EVPs like ours. I don't.
I mean, you guys, when we were at the Nile Theater in downtown Mesa, in the first 13 minutes, 12 minutes or something like that, we were there. Mm-hmm. Was it 13?
Yeah, I think it was.
We got 75?
Oh, it was 18. All of the audio was 18 minutes worth of audio, and out of that 18 minutes worth of audio, 75 keepable EVPs, meaning 75 EVPs that don't need explanation.
Right.
Anything that needed explanation or needed special boosts or anything, we actually kind of discarded because there were so many to choose from. We didn't really want the episode to be an hour and a half long.
Right.
So, which is coming up soon, by the way, guys. But there was just so much, just so many, and they layers upon layers upon layers of different voices speaking. But that is when we heard that one specific voice that we heard again later across the street.
Yeah. And they keep bringing up the same person's name, too, which is very weird. And again, it is a small community. I've tried to look into this name, and I've not been able to find anything that's older. I found recent, but not older. So, again, right? It's like, okay.
Well, and there weren't a lot of great records kept back then, so we could have this individual did live and make a very big impact on the town for 6 months, and then poof off the face of the planet.
Right.
Well, because nobody seemed to like this guy.
No. He was not a lovable guy, I don't think.
No, we did not apparently like him very much.
But if you guys have run across this, like I said, and you investigate, we would love to hear your thoughts on that. Or even if you have a theory. Hey, this hasn't happened to me, but I have a theory. We would love just to hear your theory. So, like Michelle said, email us. Message us on Instagram. It's at East Valley Paranormal. And you can also leave a voice memo on Anchor. So if you're listening to this on Anchor, I'm not sure if it does it on Spotify, but I know on Anchor you can leave a voice message. Leave us a voice message and let us know. We would love to hear your guys' thoughts for sure.
Yes, definitely. Please share those with us and let us know if we are just going crazy or if we've opened up the paranormal party line and that's...
We should start charging.
We should.
It's like $1 a minute
They're probably paying Bitcoin or something.
Oh, they're like, do you take Bitcoin? No.
Do you take Boocoin?
Boocoin.
We have Boocoin.
I mean, yeah, we would love to hear from you guys. Things coming up for us, like Michelle said, the Nile episode should be coming out at the end of the summer. We have a really great Halloween investigation coming up that we'll talk about sooner than later.
Very vaguely, though. We will vaguely discuss this.
Vaguely discuss it.
Very cool thing.
And then we have a secret project that we have been working on with another company, and we've been doing a slow reveal on Instagram, and we've had a lot